WVTC Radio Detroit. You can find us on Facebook, YouTube, X, and our website, www.wvtcdetroit.com, or download our WVTC app from the Play Store for Android users and the App Store for iPhone users.
This is Soulful Inspiration. It's your girl, Nikki Jones. This will be an hour to feed your soul with music and laughter, information and inspiration. You're listening to WVTC Detroit. All designed with you in mind. So sit back, relax, and get ready to join the conversation with me, Nikki Jones. Soulful inspiration. Inspirations. Yes, sir.
Welcome to Soulful Inspirations. I am your girl, Nikki Jones. What's up, Detroit? What is going on? I am so glad to be here tonight. I have had a wonderful time away, and it's just been wonderful. And I'm going to tell you a little bit about it, but I really want to get into the show tonight because I'm telling you it's going to be good. Okay, it's going to be good. You are listening to us on WVTC Detroit, where we are winning victory through Christ. And not only are we winning victory through Christ, but we're winning victory in our minds and our hearts and our bodies and our souls and our spirits and everything else. We just winning, okay? All we do is win no matter what. Yep, that's what we're doing. That is exactly what we're doing, okay? So listen, I want to talk to you really, really quick. I went to Ghana this past week, and as you can see, I am adorning this lovely hairdo, and I won't tell you how cheap it was in US dollars. I'm just saying, I had such a good time. I think everybody should go to Africa, to the motherland, at least one time in your life. I don't care which part of Africa you go to. My pick was Ghana. Ghana is a wonderful place to go. I think everybody should go. I'm just saying. I had a wonderful time, and I went from I experienced the gamut of emotions, all of them. And let me just say, it was wonderful to be there and to be in the majority everywhere I went. And that to me was a whole vibe in itself. It was just amazing. So I'm just putting that plug in. They ain't asked me to do it, obviously, but I just wanted to put that plug in because I just think that it's a once in a lifetime trip, and everybody should take it at least once, and take your children, if they can appreciate that level of immersion into African culture. So anyway, I just had to throw that in because it was amazing for me. I am not the same. I'm not the same person, and I will never be the same. So I want to throw that in. Listen, you know what tonight is. It is the last Tuesday of the month where we celebrate and we talk about mental health. And we are going to talk about it tonight. However, now, we don't have our resident therapist with us tonight because she on vacation with her man. I ain't hating, okay? I am not hating. She is on vacation with her husband, and she's having a good time. I think it's his birthday or something. It's a birthday trip. Anyway, wherever she is, they having a good time, and we're going to have a good time tonight. But there are so many other wonderful therapists and counselors that I know of and that you know of. And so I was like, I got another one I can call. Oh my goodness. And she is amazing. And I'm telling you, she's been doing this for a long time, and not just counseling and therapy, but she's been doing things as an educator for years. And so she has like this duality to her. Actually, it's like, she's the bomb. Okay, let me just say she's the bomb. I want to introduce to you my girl. And some people say we're twins, not when I'm wearing my hair like this, obviously, but when I wear my hair short, like my hair is naturally, They say we're twins and they get us mixed up all the time. This is the wonderful, the beautiful, the amazing Orma Smith. Hey.
Hey, twin.
Hey, twin. As you can tell, so like if I put my hair back like this, yep. They get us mixed up all the time.
Yes, they do.
How you doing, girl?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I am, as you can tell.
Welcome back.
Girl.
Take me with you next time.
I will. You can fit in the luggage.
Yeah,
You could.
I'll buy a ticket.
You can buy a
I won't
ticket.
be cheap.
Okay then. Okay. Girl, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Good.
I'm doing well.
Good.
Yes.
Not only are you a therapist and a counselor and a mom and a wife and an intercessor and a minister, you are an author.
Yes.
Yes.
I
You
am.
got it all going on, girl. You got it all going on. So she has a whole topic tonight, and I'm gonna let her get loose and talk about what she comes to talk about. I'm gonna
Yes.
read her bio so you know she is credentialed. Okay, she is very much credentialed. So I'm gonna read her bio, and then I'm just gonna turn it over to Orma, and she's gonna take it away because I'm telling you the topic is fire. Okay, listen. Orma C. Smith is a talented and compassionate therapist, educator, and leader. In her 20 years in the field of education, she served as a teacher, a counselor, and administrator. Orma's educational background includes a bachelor's in economics and business administration from Kalamazoo College, a master's from University of Detroit Mercy in counseling, and she is now serving as a mental health counselor at Pathways Christian Counseling Center. In this role, she combines her passion for healing and educating by helping her clients learn how to live healthier lives emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. She is the founder and owner of Orma Smith Consulting, LLC, and they offer emotional and behavioral health consulting services for schools, places of worship, community groups, businesses, etc. And she worships at the Embassy Covenant Church International, where we all are. And she serves as an as an education team member, guest service team member, and intercessor, and a minister. I said that all right? She does it all, okay? She believes that everyone is gifted, and her life's purpose is to help as many people as possible realizing their reason for being. Her personal motto is be light. Yes, and she desires to bring joy, peace, enlightenment into the lives of all who cross her path. And she has co-authored a book called Just Understand My Purpose, which My Perspective. And that's the acronym JUMP, right? It's beautiful. And it's addressing situations that drive people to the edge. This serves to further her mission to promote positive change in the lives of others. Welcome to Soulful Inspirations, my girl, again, Orma Smith.
Thank you so much for having me, Nikki.
Yes, girl.
I truly, first of all, I want to say I am proud of you.
Thank you.
For everything that you have done, you are doing, for having this platform.
Thank you.
Just for you to think about mental health and the role of therapy.
Yes.
Understanding and recognizing that prioritizing your mental health is extremely important.
Extremely.
There is so much going on in life, so much going on in the world. There are people who have many gifts and talents, and they do a lot of things, and many of you do a lot of things well. But sometimes we forget that we get tired.
Yes.
We forget.
I'm tired today.
We get overwhelmed, we get overburdened, things come at us. Sometimes things that we don't like, things that don't go well. And as a matter of fact, and I'm gonna sort of do this. This is the book. You can order it on my website, ormasmithconsulting.com. You get a signed copy if you do that. If you order on Amazon, it won't be signed, but if you get on the website, you get a signed copy. And there's a co-author book. LaTanya Garth and I wrote that book together. It was her brainchild, and we came together and pulled it together. And I'll talk about it a little bit more later because I'm going to read from the book a little bit more later. But this book was birthed during the pandemic, actually.
Yes.
And the reason it says addressing situations that drives people to the edge is because we thought about things that troubled you. But we also thought about some ways to shift your perspective on those things, which is kind of what I'm talking about today. My topic is the gift of adversity.
That topic when I saw it, I was like, the gift. Girl,
Yes.
adversity ain't no gift.
Exactly. That's your first instinct.
Woo.
Adversity, a gift. Yeah, it sounds like it isn't. But hopefully, as you take this journey with me, you will understand what I mean by the gift of adversity, because there are things that come to us in our life. The Bible tells us that we will have trouble in this world, right? Not that we might. Yeah. Not that only if you live here and you do this and you do that. It says you will have trouble in this world. Yes. But God will do what? He will deliver us out of them, all of them, right? Not only will he deliver you, but when you get to the other side of deliverance, will you be that same person? No, you'll be changed. You'll be different. There'll be something about you that will shift. It will transform. And hopefully you'll decide to use that to help other people. That's why my motto is Be Light, which I borrowed from my alma mater, Kalamazoo College, because that's the motto. Yes, Be Light, right? But I don't feel like I know that my personal mission is to bring light to the world. It's to bring light to others. Every person whose path I cross, if they don't get light from me, I'm not fulfilling my purpose. So that's how I feel. Okay. That's good. And we'll get more into that later, but that's where we are.
Okay. Okay. Well, let's go, girl.
Jump into it. Jump into it. Okay. So you know what? I'll flip this around. I'm just gonna give you when I talk about gift, I'll give you the acronym and then we'll jump into the story. Okay. I'm gonna tell some of my story as I get into this. The G in gift is the word grit, right?
Grit.
Yes. Grit. Which we describe as courage, strength of character, and tenacity, right? Yeah. Grit, when you have grit, it means that whatever comes at you, you're able to pull yourself through it. You're able to kind of gnaw at it, right?
And I think about teeth.
There it is.
I think about teeth. I think about I think about not roaring, but basically, kind of like before your mama gave you a whooping, that look like get your tail over here right now.
That's perfect. That's perfect. And it takes some courage to try to figure out how you're gonna deal with the consequences of whatever action you have taken to get you in that situation. Exactly. But so grit, tenacity, right? The I is inspiration, right? You go through something, and if you allow it to, and I'll get into how you get there, but I'm giving you the cheat code before we get into how you get there. Inspiration, right? Yes. And awakening to purpose. Nice. We all have a purpose.
Yes.
But some of us haven't been awakened to that purpose yet. You haven't had that thing that pushed you to it, that helped you to understand, to pull it out of you, right? Creativity and hope. Ooh. Hope is one of the most powerful tools in the world, because if you don't have hope, what do you have? People who don't have hope
commit suicide.
Hello? That's that right there is where that right there is the thing that holds people together. Yeah. Is hope. And then because hope moves you from apathy to possibility.
Yes.
If I don't care about anything, then I do things like shoot up a school.
Right.
Or I do things like hurt myself or others, right? Or quit my job at a whim when I don't have anything.
No other job to go to. No backup plan.
I don't really care. Oh, I'm gonna feed my family. I don't know, but there's a difference between faith that God has told you to do something and you just say, forget it.
Tell that part. Because you got some people out here that do stuff and say it's faith, but it really ain't. They just didn't want to go to work no more.
I didn't want to go to work anymore. And they want to blame it on God, but did God tell you?
God did not tell you to do that.
Or did your attitude problem that day? Somebody told you something you ain't like. I quit. God said,
or you just didn't want to do the job.
You didn't want to do the job.
That's what that was.
That F in gift is faith.
Yes.
Complete confidence or conviction in something or someone. And the source is different for different people. People's faith, is different. And the last one is truth. Honesty with yourself and others. And I'm going to start with that first part. Honesty with yourself. Be honest with yourself.
Please.
Don't lie to yourself. Why? If you know that you don't like to do a certain thing, or you don't have the capacity to do a certain thing, and let me say this. When we have a job, most of us, you have to write a resume, right? And you get creative on the resume sometime and try to make it, but don't completely tell a bold-faced lie.
We talk about, I went to medical school. No, you didn't.
There's a difference in using synonyms
Yes.
to make things sound good and just lying.
Right.
And I say that because one, you get yourself in trouble. You get yourself in trouble because then you put yourself in a position where now I have to figure out what to do.
Yes.
The other thing is lying creates a situation where now how do I dig myself out of this? How do I get myself out of this? Right?
You got to remember.
Right. You remember the lies that you tell.
Who has a memory to remember every lie?
Exactly. So just, and when I say honesty with yourself, this is what I mean. I'm jokingly saying that about the resume, but let's think about really honesty.
Okay.
Honesty with yourself is this. Maybe you get into a situation where, let's stick with the work situation.
Okay.
If you're at work, if you're getting fired from jobs over and over again, after one after the other, can't keep a job, right? These people just don't want to keep, they don't like me. I didn't like that place anyway. It was that boss had an attitude problem. Those people are lazy. Just take a moment to reflect. If you're losing one job after the other, stop and take a moment. Do some self-reflection.
Come on.
Am I the problem?
Come on.
I'm the common denominator.
Listen.
Yeah, I'm late for work 15, 20 minutes every day.
Ooh.
I take extra long lunches. I don't get my reports done on time. I don't use spell check when I'm sending in reports that I'm supposed to be doing. I'm too loud when I'm supposed to be quiet when people are in meetings. I stole from the supply room several times. I cursed the boss out because he asked me to do something that I didn't know how to do, and instead of asking for help, I became defensive. Trauma response. Right?
Here's one. What they not gonna tell me to do is that's the one.
I'm not the one.
I'm gonna tell you what I'm not gonna do. What I'm not gonna do. Right. We are so quick to tell people what we're not gonna do, and it's your boss.
Yes, that's it. So honesty gets you many places.
Yes.
Right. So those are the words that sort of make up the gift. Accountability. I thank you, Arisha. Thank you, girl. Yes. Hey. Accountability. Hold yourself accountable.
Please.
You want to hold everybody else accountable. Hold yourself accountable.
Yes.
That is awesome. So that's that piece. I want to move into sort of why I want to talk about the gift of adversity and how it makes sense. Because I said that and Nikki was like, what? What are you talking about? I don't know how many of you are familiar with Viktor Frankl. How many of you are familiar with Viktor Frankl?
I've heard the name before.
Some of us read about him. We read his book, The Man's Search for Meaning, was one of his most popular books. He's written over 30, right? He was a Jewish Austrian psychiatrist, neurologist, but he was also a Holocaust survivor. He actually developed and discovered his psychological perspective called logotherapy while he was in a concentration camp.
Wow.
I so admire him. I read about him when I was in school. So of course I taught from his book when I became a teacher, because he's so inspiring to think that you're in a concentration camp. You are being tortured. You are being starved. You're being deprived of your human rights. And you make the decision instead of whining and complaining. And I'm not minimizing people's pain, right? He could have made the choice to focus on what he did not have. Okay. I didn't have freedom. I didn't have the food that I desired and that I had before I was put in this place. I did not have my own bed, the clothes that I wanted, the ability to wake up when I felt like it and go to sleep when I felt like it. Well, what did he have? He had his brain, his brain power. He had the God-given gifts. He had capacity to think and to create and to do. So he did that. He made the choice.
Wow.
Right? And his book, Man's Search for Meaning, was the product of that. Look it up. That was only one of the books. He's written 30, like I said. That's the one that I use with clients. I even read periodically myself. But what I like to talk about with him is that this is one quotation that I like, and I'm going to read it so no, I don't mess it up. He says, when we are no longer able to change the situation, we are challenged to change ourselves.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo. Talk about adversity being a gift. This man went through what some people could never imagine.
Yeah.
But instead of him saying, woe is me, this is terrible, I'm watching people die, smelling burning bodies, all these things that he dealt with, he says, God, what did you put in my hand? And what am I going to do with it? And he helped so many people, and still to this day is helping people because we're still reading his books.
Yes.
He's gone, but the books are helping us. So he made a choice. He challenged himself to change, right? So his adversity was one that some of us could never imagine. Some people have endured worse.
Mhm.
Yes, they have. They have. But some people have not gotten anywhere near what he's dealt with.
Right.
But he made a choice. His mind was powerful enough to say, his faith was strong enough to say, let me do this thing and let me get this out here to the world.
Whew.
So that's him, right?
Wow.
Let me talk a little bit about myself.
Uh-oh.
And I share this because it may be a little more relatable and more closely connected to people. I experienced trauma at the age of 9, and that's outside of my home. And I have to clarify that because I had an amazing family, wonderful parents, and I don't want people to begin to kind of have a perception of them from that. But that trauma that I experienced outside of my home, it changed me, right? I was a good student. I was an honor student. I really didn't get in trouble. I was a good girl, right? But there were things about what I experienced that shifted me as a person. I made some decisions through my life that kind of, many people to this day still don't know, but I tried to take my own life 3 times over my lifespan.
Wow.
The third suicide attempt, I was in grad school to become a counselor.
Wow.
Ironically enough, I was married. My husband and I just bought our home. My oldest daughter was 2 years old. On the outside, my life looked perfect. Right? But the trauma was unaddressed. So first and foremost, go to therapy.
Go to therapy.
Take care of yourself. I am a Christian. I pray. I read the Bible. But I still have a therapist. We'll get there in a minute.
Wow.
So that's part of the story. Let's fast forward to today. And no, let me go back to the therapy piece, because it took me 3 tries to find my therapist. And I'm saying this for a reason. Because some of you said, well,
Yes.
I've been to therapy.
Yes.
And I didn't like my therapist. It didn't work for me. And It took me 3 tries to find my therapist.
Yes.
The first 2 just didn't work.
Yes.
I went to one and I felt I didn't connect with her. I'll be honest. Let me be honest. I was in grad school. I thought I knew more than she did. Okay. All right. I'm gonna be honest.
But you know what though? That's okay. That's okay. Because a lot of times I think people go to therapy and they walk away with, oh shoot, that's all they said.
Exactly.
I could have said that.
Exactly.
I could be a therapist then if that's
Right.
all they was gonna do.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
And it doesn't it takes away from you being honest with yourself
Yep.
about your stuff.
Yep.
And understanding that there is a process and a method to therapy in terms of how they need to build rapport with
Yep.
you, how they need to
Exactly.
build a connection with you, to
Yes.
you, in order to help you. So a lot of times, it's they haven't said much because it's not time for them to say anything relative to what you shared yet. It's time for you to just dump pretty much.
You must have a good therapist.
I
Anyway,
do have a good
so,
therapist.
Therapist number two. I learned what not to do as a therapist from this person. This person sat behind her computer the whole time. She barely paid attention. She made me feel like I was lying to her. It wasn't good, but she referred me to a psychiatrist for meds, because at that time I had to take medication. I was on medication for a little while, and I'm putting it out there. I'm not ashamed.
But it's okay.
Right?
We got to take out
That's
the
right.
stigma.
I'm no longer on medication, but I needed it when I needed it.
out.
But the psychiatrist was the bomb.
Listen.
She actually listened. She talked to me. I was like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be experiencing. So I was like, okay, so it was a positive experience. Okay. But I stopped seeing her. I was done with that. Now, here's how I found the therapist that I have today, who is amazing, who is phenomenal, who I have been seeing for 8 years. She's amazing. Let me tell you what happened. She mentioned that I was in education. I was an educator for over 20 years in various positions. I left education and I became a therapist myself. My first few months as a therapist, I was a babe. I was figuring it all out. I'm sitting in session with a client. She started talking and telling her story. And her story mirrored my trauma, my unprocessed trauma. And a tear started rolling down my face during her session.
Ooh, that's a no-no.
It's a no-no.
That's a no-no for a therapist.
Especially, well, it's a no-no for a client that it's definitely for, it was a no-no in that situation. And I wiped it away as soon as I could, but I could see her whole demeanor change. And I was like, oh, you messed up. So I went to a colleague after the session. I said, listen, I need help. I need you to help me. I got to find a therapist. I can't. And I told them what happened. And they helped me find the therapist that I am with today.
Wow.
I am no longer that individual. I am healed. I am whole. And I can sit in a client and they can tell me anything, whatever, and I'm good. Right.
Straight face.
And I'm good at what exactly. And I'm good at what I do. And I can connect with my clients in a professional way, but also they can feel the empathy. Right.
Yes.
That was my first rodeo, you know, and I had to grow into that. Right. And I share that with you because I think it's important that you understand, one, therapists are human, but also you have to be patient with the process.
Yes.
To get to where you need to be.
Yes.
Right. So I prayed for her. I was like, God, please help her find somebody who can help her. Because obviously I'm not the one.
Get somebody else to do it.
But today, my client list stays full because God has given me the gift to be a healer and to help people and to do what they need.
You're doing your thing now.
Because I'm doing my thing, because I'm good at what I do. I had to get here. But here comes the meat of the adversity that actually got me to really want to talk about this topic. In 2021, my baby sister passed away in July 2021. September of 2021, my best friend passed away. In December of 2021, I totaled my car. In the midst of all of that, my husband and I were having some issues. So one of my main supports was, you know, I wasn't really able to really lean into that, right? So this was 2021. That year was interesting. It's an interesting year for me. Fast forward 2022, early 2022, in March, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I didn't have my baby sister. I didn't have my best friend, the person who literally took my secrets to his grave. When I say that man took my secrets to his grave, he took my secrets to his grave. So I'm going through these things. Oh, and by the way, the day that my best friend passed away, I had an appointment with my therapist, and I was heading. I called and said, hey, I got to cancel. My best friend is sick. I need to get to see him. And I canceled that appointment. And now, by the time I got to him, he had already made his transition. And I did not get back to see my therapist for months. It took longer than that. I'm actually ashamed to tell you how long it took, but it took a long time to get back to her. And so I kind of was in a state that was challenging for me, right? There was adversity around me, right? I had a lot of love around me, but internally there was a lot going on. So it was one thing after another. But here's the thing. Orma Smith, in her infinite wisdom, and I'm laughing because y'all gonna laugh when y'all hear this. When I got the cancer diagnosis, I was like, oh, I'm not really gonna tell too many people, you know, that I have cancer. I'm just gonna, you know, my pastor knows about it. My family knows. My boss is gonna need to know. I'm gonna tell my clients I'm on sick leave. They don't need to know why. And I wasn't gonna tell anybody because I felt like it was information that I didn't want people to be overly upset and emotional. I didn't want to do that. So I was like, okay, well, I'm trying to sleep one night. I'm in my bed and I kept hearing this particular phrase over and over in my brain. Let me give you some context. Our pastor, Apostle Hugh Daniel Smith, does apostolic briefings every Wednesday. That week before I was having this restless night, he gave a briefing and he said, my life is a platform for the glory of God. That was a phrase that he used. And I actually wrote that down because it stuck with me. That's the phrase that kept ringing in my head when I was trying to sleep. So I grabbed my phone and I wrote it down again, put it in my notes because I was like, okay, obviously I have to do something with this. So I'm going to write it down and get it out of my head so I can go to sleep. That is a sleep technique that I use, by the way.
Nice.
Okay. If something keeps ruminating in my head,
yes.
write it down and then
go back to it later.
Don't keep going. Okay. But then I kept waking up. I was like, okay, God, what is it? God said, tell the story.
Mm.
I was like, okay. All right, Lord. So I sat up, grabbed my phone again, and I typed out a Facebook post. The Facebook post highlighted the date that I found the lump, the date that I was diagnosed, what the diagnosis was, what was, when I was going to have the surgery, and just kind of said, I'm healed, I'm happy, I'm whole, what I was going to do, just kind of a brief outline of what was going on up until that point. So basically, I told people that I had cancer.
On Facebook.
When I wasn't going to tell anybody, right? I actually found one of my favorite pictures of myself on the beach. I love the beach. I love the sunshine. And I typed the phrase over it, my life is a platform for the glory of God. I gave credit to Bishop and I posted it. Now, there were hundreds and hundreds of reactions and comments to that. But what got me were the inbox messages.
Mm.
The messages were things like, Omar, I've never had a mammogram before and I'm scared. Can I call you? Or Omar, I've been diagnosed with prostate cancer and your post inspired me. Omar, here's some resources for you. One after the other. People were responding and resonating and reaching out for help.
Mm.
I was calling people and talking to people and inspiring people, and it clicked in my mind. It was not about me. It was never about me. It was about me being able to minister to and help other people.
Woo!
So the adversity that I was enduring in that moment
was a
for
gift.
the glory of God. And it was a gift.
It was a gift.
To every single person, every phone call, I'm walking through Target on the phone, talking to people. I'm sitting in my car talking to people. It was a gift for other people.
Wow.
It was not about me saying, I know that I'm going to be, because I was never afraid of, I knew I wasn't going to die. It's never afraid of death. That never, ever crossed my mind. There was never any fear. That's one reason, another reason why I was not ready to just tell everybody, because I was like, oh, I'm going to die. No, it was never that, because I knew I wasn't going to die. But God was like, Omar, this isn't about you. Because just like my bishop said, your life is a platform for God's glory. And by doing that, other people need, not you, other people need this. So the adversity that I endured was for other people to be able to receive from you, right?
Yes.
So that, and I think, one of the things I talk about is your assignment. The assignment of my life is to be light. That was part of my light, was to shine for God.
Yes.
And for people to understand, no matter how hard it is, no matter how challenging it is, it's about this. So that 6 weeks that I had to sit on my couch because I couldn't sleep in my bed.
Woo, baby. Been there.
I did a lot of reflecting and I was able to begin to shift my mindset. So.
Oh my God. So first of all, wow. And I remember your post because I remember reading it and feeling like she ain't say nothing. Like, ain't nobody told me nothing. You know what I'm saying? Because we are so connected.
Yes.
And it was like,
yes,
this chick, she didn't even tell me. Oh my God. Okay. You know what? And it was like, I got, I felt some type of way at first. It was like, she could have told me she know what I've been through because I have already had my experience with cancer. It wasn't breast cancer. It was ovarian cancer for me. But I was like, but dang, Orma know me. She could have came to me and said, Nikki Blase spleen. You know what I'm saying? And I was like, I felt some type of way at first. But then it was like, I know you're going to be all right, though. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I never felt, like you were saying, it was never any fear about it. Yeah. It was just like, dang, she could have told me, I'd have went with her. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? That's how I was feeling. But I remember it because I think that a lot of times people expect when you get a diagnosis of cancer, and some people do. Some people go through so many different emotions and they immediately go to the far left in terms of thinking the worst. You know what I'm saying? And I think that for me, I never wanted that feeling either. I never had that feeling of feeling the worst. I felt like, okay, God, why am I going through this? You know, I did have that thought, but I never, like you said, I never felt like I was going to die from it or anything like that. It was just like, well, okay, I got to go through this. And, you know, yeah. So, but yeah, I think when people hear you have a cancer diagnosis, they don't know what to do. They don't know what to say. Yeah. And it's like, they want to just, okay, I'm praying for you. And, you know, and that's it, you know, but, man, just a wonderful testimony to understanding adversity that is not about you. And I remember, just like Bishop said, that your life is basically a testament to God and his glory. I remember him sharing with me that my life is an allegory.
Ooh.
Yeah. I know.
When is that book coming out?
Ooh, okay. Moving right along. So, yeah, that's, yeah. So, my life is an allegory, and so I'm still working through that in terms of a thought and a purpose and how that looks and where that is supposed to go. And I'm remembering that today because of what you said, Bishop said to you. Yes. And so I'm remembering that. And he said that to me back in 2012. That's how long ago it was. Because I remember Ian was a year old when he said it. You gonna write that down?
I'm gonna read from my book. I said I'm gonna read this chapter. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But so no, I'm not gonna write it down. It's funny because you know I'm good for taking notes. You're like, let me write it down. Let me write it down. So awesome. Yeah. Okay, good. So at the end of the day, a lot of it is, and it's funny, you know, as we're talking about all this emotions and everything, because I received my cancer diagnosis on my lunch break in between clients at work.
In between clients at work on your lunch break? Really?
And I was like, nah, I'm not gonna go home. I just closed my door, put on some worship music, and I praised God. And I went on about my business.
Yeah. I feel you.
Because it's you know, our mind is a powerful thing.
I feel you.
So we're talking about the gift of adversity. I don't know if there's any questions in the chat or anything, but I'm gonna go ahead and keep going.
She'll post them if there are any questions.
Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna keep on going.
Keep going, girl.
So I'm reading from the jump book on smithconsulting.com. I'm reading from the chapter From Adversity to Purpose. And just to kind of give you an idea of how this book, LaTanya Garth and I wrote this book. We chose topics that we felt were relevant to life and people, in variety of topics. This particular one is about adversity. It's called From Adversity to Purpose. She's a motivational speaker and I'm a therapist. So we write the question. I answer the question from the perspective of a therapist. Mm-hmm. She answers it from the perspective of a motivational speaker. And then we leave room for the reader to write their own response.
Nice.
Now we're both believers, so you get that infused in the book as well. Here's the question that I want to read for you all today because it's relevant to the topic. Everywhere I turn, there's adversity. I feel like I'm going in circles and there's not a breakthrough in sight. I thought there was a rainbow at the end of every storm, but problems keep pouring on me. Why does it seem like trouble is always around me? Will this ever come to an end? Will I get my breakthrough before I break down? Okay. My subtitle is Pain is Inevitable, Suffering is Optional.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, let that marinate for a moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's simmering in me.
Yeah.
That's the simmer.
Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies growth and our freedom. Viktor Frankl.
Wow.
Obviously one of my favorite authors.
As usual.
Pain is a part of life. It can be physical, mental, or emotional, but it will come. There will be times when you experience loss, heartbreak, or even physical injury. These things are usually outside of your control. They come into your life and they can often take you by surprise. The way you perceive and respond to the situation will impact how you move through the pain. Suffering, on the other hand, is the avoidance, struggle, worry, regret, complaining, and self-pity attached to the pain. The root of suffering is your mindset about the painful condition. Allowing yourself to accept and understand the situation is a good start to managing it. Acknowledge that it is unpleasant or just downright unfair, and work to manage it or move past it and heal. Challenges occur when your mindset about your circumstances lead to self-sabotaging behavior. The bottle, the vape pen, sex, cutting, whatever you're doing to avoid
whatever the vice,
the emotional pain.
Yes,
because you inflicted other things on yourself.
Wow.
In this case, suffering will ensue. Consider this scenario. You log into your email and notice that you are no longer receiving emails about the bank account that you use for your business. Your initial thought is, I've been hacked. Concerns about the financial impact, possible threat to clients, and even your reputation invade your mind. You're just going all over the place. At this moment, you have a choice. Option one, you decide to get angry and throw your phone out of frustration. It happens.
I've seen it.
Throwing your phone will lead to damage to the phone, an inability to access resources for help, and continued frustration with the situation due to a feeling of powerlessness. This is where suffering enters the picture. The initial situation was just inconvenient and painful. The choice to react out of negative emotions magnified the problem, created another situation, broken phone, and led to suffering. Option two, stop and make a plan. You can try alternate methods of accessing the information or contacting the bank for assistance. The situation is still painful. Okay, it sucks to have to deal with that. But slowing down and focusing on a solution eases the pain instead of exacerbating it, causing you to suffer. The example given addresses a concrete external issue. Sometimes pain takes on a different face. And this is obviously was written in the pandemic. So this next statement talks about that. The current pandemic and the challenges it has brought ushered difficulties into the lives of many. Grief, loss, unemployment, challenges in relationship, health issues. These adversities hit and make you feel powerless or even hopeless. The line from the song Wave Masters by Social Club Misfits gives an excellent perspective. I like Christian hip hop. I'm sorry. I'm a bit
no, you're good.
People are like, who is that? Look them up.
Look them up.
See, the issues of life, they remind us that we're not God and that we're in dire need of one. Surrendering to God and trusting his plan for your life will serve to release the burden of fixing the problem and leaves you with the responsibility of moving through with faith and mining the good out of adversity. When trouble comes into your life, you have a choice. Allow them to change you or allow them to challenge you. I encourage you to mine the good out of tough times. Sit with your pain and allow it to teach you. As a good friend of mine once told me, don't cheat this experience. Don't waste these trials. Thanks, Jonathan. Remember, God did not cause these difficulties, but he will carry us through and use them for his glory.
Yes.
So, again, pain is inevitable, but suffering.
Read that quote again.
Jonathan.
Yes, read that quote from Jonathan again.
Don't cheat this experience. Don't waste these trials. What does that mean to you?
I think about, and I'm, if I cry, I cry.
Girl, listen.
If I cry, I cry. Okay.
That's right. We got tissue.
We got tissue. Y'all know I be crying. So I think about Jonathan because he said it. And I think about his life. I think about his life of suffering, not suffering. I think about the pain that he endured. And I think about his smile. I think about his laughter. I think about him joking. I think about him being in the hospital and flirting with the nurses. I think about him making everybody around him laugh instead of thinking about the pain that he is enduring in the moment. And it's such a testimony and a show of strength, inner fortitude, inner grit.
Oh my goodness. A to the man.
Grit. I mean, Jonathan, and we're talking about him in past tense because he has passed on, but I promise you, he left such an impression on so many people who probably never even remembered his name just by, being in the same space with him. Because if you were in the space with Jonathan, you would never forget him. if he said anything to you or if he said nothing to you. He just had that way. And I think that God not wasting pain, God not wasting your experience, because he makes all things work together for our good. So we cannot waste the experience, anything that we're going through. There's going to be a purpose in it, and it might not happen in that moment. It might not happen, in the next 40, 50 days. It might be later on down the road, years down the road, before you realize why you went through whatever it was that you went through.
Yes.
And that's what I'm thinking about. It's like, everybody is going to have those experiences that come back to you when it's time, when it's time for the purpose of that experience to be revealed. And so I think I said this to Shirley yesterday. God doesn't waste experiences. He don't waste nothing. He doesn't waste pain. He doesn't waste time. He doesn't waste anything. Everything that you go through, good, bad, and different, he uses it. And it's up to you to learn what the purpose of those experiences are.
Yeah. Just to give you all context, when I talked about my best friend, it was Jonathan. That's what she's talking about.
Yeah.
He's the one who passed away in September of 21. And like literally up until the very last time I saw him, he was in the hospital. Well, I saw him vibrant. He was in the hospital. That man was still singing.
Yes.
He had me singing with him. And he knew it was coming.
Yeah.
God was calling him home, and he knew it. He kept hinting at me, and I was in partial denial because he was saying things like, okay, so Orma, when it's time for my service, I want you to do this. And I was like, what? Right? But that's how he was talking.
I want to talk about that.
That's how he was talking. He actually helped planned out his own service.
It was amazing.
And that's the kind of person he was. He had gotten to that point. He had come to that place. And his life, literally, his entire obituary was like the story of his life.
Yeah.
And that's how it played out. And he has left a gift to this world. Anyone who who knew him, who has had contact with him, can tell you a positive memory. No matter, they could have had contact with him for 30 minutes. And he left something. He left a gift.
In the drive-through at Culver's. Yes. So he used to work at Culver's, and he wrote
Larry Whitfield. Yes, Larry. The teacher is behind us. We tried not to cry, Larry. Stop.
He wrote a book on customer service.
Yes. Yep.
And because he was one of those people who was adamant about good customer service. And I'm telling you, you couldn't go into Culver's and not experience who Jonathan was.
Oh my goodness. He had this spiel. It was just like
everywhere.
For the life.
Yes.
Yep. And so and I'm thankful that I'm able to have this conversation and like keep my composure. But he was just that kind of person.
Yeah.
And he was a perfect example that even in the midst of challenges in your life, you can still bring joy. You can still bring love and life to this world.
Yes.
He found a way to allow people to love one another, to love themselves. And in his gift, he could sing.
Yes. Absolutely could sing. Yes.
And so I really and it's interesting, when I pulled out this book, I forgot that I had that in there. And I was like, and I didn't like have a breakdown, right? Because I'm at the point now in my healing process and the grief that I am at a place of acceptance.
Yes.
And as a matter of fact, I tell people all the time, I posted on Facebook a while ago, I had because of the compounded grief of him and my sister and then the cancer within that time period, it was a lot of traumatic grief for me for a while. And so I was in an odd space. But I got to a place where I was able to work through and get to a place where I'm able to manage and live and learn and love and think about and talk about both of them in a healthy way.
Yeah.
I do still have days where I cry. I do still have days when I feel it, but I'm not in the bread aisle balling like I was
I get it.
on certain days.
I get it. I get it. I totally get it. No, seriously, because I mean, grief, and we all experienced so much grief over the last few years because what'd you say?
Pastor D says he gave the joy that sometimes he didn't receive.
Yes.
That is perfect.
So accurate.
Very accurate.
Very accurate. And I mean, we've all experienced so much grief.
Yes.
I've lost a best friend this year. And it's just not something you can control in terms of your emotions when it comes upon you. I can't listen to music and not think about my best friend or think about my brother.
Your brother. Yeah. Yep.
I can't listen to any song.
Yeah.
I don't care what song it is.
Yeah.
I can't listen to any song without thinking about those two people, because musically they are part of the fabric of my life. And one I'm, related to, but we grew up singing and playing together. And then the other one, she taught me so much. My best friend taught me so much about music, and we sang together across the country, across the world. We sang together here. We sang together in Italy. I mean, just in all over the world. And she exposed me to so much musically. So it's like, I can't, when I'm grieving, it just comes out. You don't know where you're going to be. It could be in the car, it just doesn't matter. I was in Africa thinking about my brother and thinking about my best friend, and just being there, and having those moments and being okay with it. And that's part of the grieving process, and just allowing yourself to feel as opposed to, trying to stop it and trying to keep it from happening. No, just let your body do what God designed your body to do. And that is release. Yeah. Whew, girl, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. What else you got?
So, I'm trying to decide. I have some scriptures on here. I'll go ahead and read these scriptures just so that we have some of that, because I think it's important. Psalm 34:17 says, the righteous cry out and the Lord hears them. He delivers them from all their troubles.
Yes.
And that is important for us to remember that, right? Sometimes sometimes when we get into the thick of things, we can forget. If you're not inundated and filled with the word, that's why we are to meditate on the word daily.
Absolutely.
That's what we're told to meditate on the word day and night, so that it's in you. When things get challenging, when things get hard, when you deal with, because right now if you pay attention, even if it's not happening to you, people are leaving out of here regularly. People are diagnosed with illnesses. People are losing their job. Things are happening. Some wonderful things are happening in the world. Some great and beautiful things are happening. Some amazing things are happening. But there are challenges happening as well. And if you are not keeping yourself close to the cross, close to God, close to the light, right? Then you get caught up in the negativity, and your mind goes someplace where it doesn't belong.
Yeah.
Hope is the light. Hope should be your center. That should be where you desire to dwell. Yeah. Right. Another one I have here is be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication, is asking God, right?
Yes.
With thanksgiving.
Yes.
Let your requests be known to God. Ask him. Say, God, listen, I don't know what's going on right now in this world. Can you help me out? Help a sister out. Help a brother out. Help my family. Help us out.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And the peace of God, which passes all understanding, will guard your hearts and minds through Christ Jesus. That part right there.
Yeah.
The peace of God that passes all understanding. What people didn't understand about some of us during the pandemic, like some of us were not in a panic.
Right.
Some of us were not sort of freaking out. Yep, I wore a mask when I had to. I have elderly parents. I did those things, but I was not in a panic. I was not in fear. I lived in wisdom, but not in fear.
That's a big difference.
Right?
Perspective.
It's perspective. Because I had the peace of God. I truly believed and understood that God was keeping me. right? And so I think that it's important, but we don't know those things. We don't understand those things if we're not in the word and believe in the word and hiding it in our hearts.
Yes.
Right. The last one, and this is what I call my signature scripture. And I call it that Luke 1:79 because it speaks to who I believe that God has created me to be. To shine light to those who sit in darkness and the shadow of death, and to guide their feet in the way of peace.
Yes. You said Luke
1:79.
and 79.
That's where be light makes sense, right? My mission is to be light in the darkness.
Yes.
So when I'm in my office with my clients, many of my clients sit in dark spaces. They sit in hopelessness. They sit in despair. They sit in loss. They sit in pain. They sit in spaces where things one after another have hit their lives. And God has graced me with capacity to be light to them, not a false light. We don't say, oh, get over it, it'll be fine, everything is okay. Not that kind of light.
Mm.
But the light that comes from Jesus, the light that comes from God, the light that says, listen, this is what you're experiencing right now. This is what you're feeling right now. But I want you to understand this. There is hope. There is a God who loves you. There is a God who sees you. And if you can take the time to sit in his presence, to feel his love, and let him wrap his arms around you, what you're experiencing right now is temporary. And he will be there for you. Like there are things about our lives and about our world that we can't imagine, but God can get you through them.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
He can help you through them. We have many troubles, but he will deliver us out of a few of them.
No,
all of them. Out of some of them.
Every last one.
Every last one.
Every last
and
one.
that is the value that I bring. Everybody does not have a Christian counselor, and I get it. But I'm a Christian counselor. So my clients gonna get that Jesus.
They gonna get that
when they come in my office, right? Yes. They go get that. I have a degree in. I am a licensed professional counselor, so I have a license from the state of Michigan. But I also am a minister, so I have a license from Jesus.
Hello,
as well, right? To help people get to where they need to be.
And you need both.
And you need both. You need both.
You need both.
And so when we talk about the gift of adversity, it sounds like an oxymoron. How dare you? How they sound when oxymoron things that are opposites, but they're not. Our perspective. Think about Jesus on the cross. One of the biggest adversities you can think of.
Ooh.
But we all got the greatest gift.
Yes.
We got the gift of eternal life.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So when you think about the gift of adversity, think about the mindset that it took for him to say, yes, I'm going to take on this assignment. I'm going to do this thing. And yeah, he had a moment, but then he came back to himself. Okay. All right, Daddy, I'm going to do it. Right. And we're here. As a result, salvation is ours because of it. Peace is ours. Healing is ours in our minds, in our bodies, and in our souls. So, Nikki,
high five.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, girl, I am so glad I invited you, and I am so glad that you taught on this, that you brought this particular topic, because everybody is experiencing some level of adversity in some area of their lives. Every last one of us, and so changing our perspective on it will change us to deal with the adversity, as opposed to, having such a large request from, for God to change the adversity. He might change the adversity, but he's going to change you first before the adversity changes, and you'll be better for it, and I'm just grateful. Thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing your wisdom, your knowledge. You've been doing this for so long, and I want people to know your website again, where they can find you, and some of the other things that you do in terms of education, because you do a lot of consulting for education as well. Okay. So give us that spiel before we let you go.
Okay. So the website again is ormasmithconsulting.com. If you can go on that site for bookings, I actually have resources you can download from the website. You can send me an email and ask to sign up for. I do workshops on social and emotional learning. I also do workshops on conflict management. I do workshops on college readiness. If you have a topic that you would like for me to do, send it to me. I can work it out. I'm a resourceful person.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is.
So we can work it out. So yep, that's my website on the screen, and my phone number is on there, 313-241-0459 as well. But all that's on the website. You can order the book from the website. I will send you a signed copy. And I don't charge for shipping, so you'll get the book without the shipping.
You don't charge for shipping?
I do not charge for shipping. No.
Ain't that beautiful?
So you
Amazon charge for shipping. Go ahead.
You're so funny. So yep, and you will again, like I said, I have resources. I have mental health resources as well as college planning resources on the site as well. And that is it.
Okay. Thank you, Orma. We love you. Thank you for being here tonight. We love you too. And thank you for watching. Share this broadcast. Share this message. Somebody needs to know that there is a gift in adversity. We love you. Good night.
This is Pastor Eric Wilkerson of Up From the World Ministries North and South, and I listen to WVTC Detroit, and I'd like for you to tune in and listen as well.
Detroit, did you know barriers to healthcare persist for Black women in Michigan, regardless of income or education? Each year, too many families face the tragedy of preventable maternal deaths. At Michigan Advancing Healthy Births Plan, the mission is clear: to improve birth outcomes for all families, achieve healthier pregnancies, and reduce maternal deaths. By listening to Michigan families and addressing racial and social inequities, we can work towards zero preventable deaths and zero health disparities. Join us in this vital cause. Let's work together to give our future a healthy arrival. WVTC Detroit's Project Healthy Arrival is made possible with grant funding from Southeast Michigan Perinatal Quality Improvement Coalition, Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, and United Way for Southeast Michigan. Attention Detroit, calling all ladies who love to sing. The GMWA Detroit Chapter Women's Choir is preparing for their upcoming concert, and we want you to join us. Rehearsals have already started, so come lift your voice with us at Craig Memorial Tabernacle, 14201 Puritan in Detroit. Rehearsal dates are as follows: Friday, September 20th, Friday, September 27th, and Thursday, October 3rd. Evangelist Sandy Rose is our music coordinator, and WVTC Radio Detroit is proud to be one of the sponsors of this powerful event. Don't miss your chance to be a part of something amazing. See you at rehearsal.
You've been listening to
Soulful Inspiration.
We're so glad you hung out with us today. We're here every Tuesday at 8 p.m. on WVTC Detroit. If you'd like to partner with us or sponsor a show with your business, send us an email at tntsoulllc@gmail.com, or you can call us at 313-570-8280. I'm your girl,
Nikki Jones.
Go to your Apple or Google Play Store and download the WVTC Gospel Radio app today. You can also say, Alexa, play WVTC Radio Skills.
Would you like to play WVTC Radio Network?
Absolutely. Download it today.
You're listening to WVTC Gospel Radio Detroit, and we're flowing in the Spirit.